The fight in the Tata Trust boardroom between Noel Tata and Mehli Mistry became so much that Noel has now kicked Mehli out of it. A few weeks ago, even the government had to intervene, considering that at $180 billion annual revenue, the Tatas make up a significant portion of India's $4.13 trillion GDP. On October 7, 2025, Home Minister Amit Shah and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman met the warring parties in Delhi. Please solve your issues and ensure stability in national interest. There are two big Tata entities involved in this fight, Tata Trust and Tata Sons. Set up by Jamshedji Tata, the Tata Trust, made up of 11 trusts, does not do any business, but focuses on giving grants and donations for education, healthcare, etc. and depends entirely on the dividend income they receive from Tata Sons for their philanthropic activities. Tata Sons is the holding company in all Tata businesses, right from TCS, Tata Steel, Tata Motors, comprising 400 or more of such listed and unlisted companies. An empire spanning from salt to steel worth over 15 lakh crores, of which N. Chandrasekharan is now its chairman after the demise of Sir Ratan Tata. Tata Trust owns 66% of Tata Sons, and thus their charitable activities are highly dependent on the income earned by Tata Sons. But at the same time, they have relatively little say in that company because despite owning 2/3 of the company, they have only 1/3 of the 9 seats on Tata Sons board. So the conflict taking place at the moment is not in Tata Sons but in Tata Trust, where one pillar is 68-year-old Noel Tata, the half-brother of Ratan Tata, chairman of Tata Trust, Trend, Tata Investments, Tata International and board member of Tata Sons. While the other pillar at Tata Trust is 65-year-old Mehli Mistry, a long-time family friend, a legatee in the will of Ratan Tata, being bequeathed 3 licensed firearms and a bungalow. Mehli was also his close business confidant, so much so that when the former Tata Sons chairman Cyrus Mistry, Mehli's first cousin, had a huge power tussle in full public view with Ratan Tata in 2016, Mehli refused to back his own cousin and sided with Ratan. See Bisbo's story on this, which has almost 2 million views. When Ratan Tata was alive, Noel and Mehli largely worked in tandem. Even after his demise in October 2024, Noel was unanimously elected as Tata Trust chairman the same month with Mehli's full backing, and both were expected to take Tata's legacy to new heights. However, a year later, on September 11, 2025, when the trustees of Tata Trust met for a meeting, sparks flew in the boardroom. Noel, I've always supported you, but I'm disheartened that you didn't back me for a seat on the Tata Sons board. Mehli, who had supported Noel's ascent to chairmanship, felt hurt and betrayed. The trust needs to have more say in decisions in Tata Sons. 1 year into his chairmanship, it seemed to Mehli that Noel Tata wanted to sideline him and run Tata Sons on his own terms. Now, taking a legacy forward while building an empire requires not just vision, but making the right decisions at the right time. For most professionals, a key decision is where to park your hard-earned money safely and still earn fixed returns. That's where Wint Wealth comes in. Wint Wealth lets everyday investors access high-yield corporate bonds, an opportunity once reserved for big institutions. You can start investing with as little as 1,000 rupees and earn fixed returns between 9 to 12% depending on the bond's credit rating. And the best part, before a bond makes it to the platform, Wint's team performs thorough due diligence, quarterly financial health checks, and credit risk assessments. So you get transparency and clarity before every investment decision. Their dashboard is user-friendly, where you can track your investments, repayments, schedule reminders, and reinvestment options all in one place. Plus, these bonds are exchange listed, so you can choose to sell before maturity if you need liquidity. So if you're looking to diversify beyond stocks and mutual funds, head to the link in the description and explore Wint Wealth today. Because the smartest growth stories aren't built on chance, they're built on well-planned moves. And the power of liquidity, meaning you can easily buy or sell bonds on Wint Wealth whenever you want. Back to the Tata internal fight story. Now, Noel Tata wanted to reappoint bureaucrat Vijay Singh, 77, the former defense secretary, as the nominee director of Tata Trust on the Tata Sons board with the support of his confidant trustee Venu Srinivasan of the TVS Group. But Mistry had backers of his own, Pramit Javeri, former Citibank CEO, H.C. Jahangir and Darius Kambata, senior counsel. Vijay Singh, acting ethically, recused himself from the meeting since his name was under consideration and also resigned from the Tata Sons board in abundant caution. But that didn't stop shots from being fired between the two groups.
The trustees need a strong voice on the board,
which Vijay can provide because he stood by Ratan through the worst of times. Mehli felt that Noel was taking crucial financial decisions without taking all trustees of Tata Trust into confidence, as was the case during Ratan Tata's tenure, like ignoring the need for approvals for any acquisition, investment or disinvestment made by group companies in excess of 100 crore. Neither were the trust consulted before reappointing Anita Marangoli George as an independent director in Tata Sons in August 2025. With Noel already on the board, just one more seat was available for Tata Trust and Noel seemed to be hogging it by promoting Vijay Singh. Once again, the Tatas were facing an internal revolt almost exactly 10 years after Ratan Tata ousted Cyrus Mistry as Tata Sons chairman. Noel Tata, the new leader, came in with a test cricketer-like approach, playing the long game, running businesses in a traditional, discreet, behind-the-scenes way like Ratan himself did. But Mehli wanted to play aggressively like in T20s, believing Tata Sons needed to be future-ready for the opportunities that came its way as India grew. For this, he wanted Tata Sons to go public and raise money by an IPO. The opportunity was there for the taking because by virtue of it having substantial outside debt, it was obliged by law to list publicly by September 2025. But Noel didn't want this as it would entail lots of public filings and a complete change in their discreet style of working that could affect key decisions. So to shed its NBFC tag, Noel repaid over 20,000 crores of Tata Sons debt and applied to surrender its NBFC license, whose RBI approval is still pending. Interestingly, around the same time, Cyrus Mistry's Shapoorji Pallonji Group, which holds 18.37% of Tata Sons, worth an estimated $12.9 billion, 1.07 lakh crore rupees, had in the past few years been going through some tough times, forcing it to raise a whopping 60,000 crore rupee debt, for which they pledged their entire stake in Tata Sons, angering Ratan Tata. However, with Tata Sons being an unlisted company, it cannot unlock its full potential value or transfer shares to a third party without first offering it to existing shareholders. So it was in the interest of Shapoorji Pallonji to push for an IPO that would help it clear its massive debt. Now here is the kahani mein twist. Mehli is also a first cousin of Shapoorji Mistry. So was his intent for more control at Tata Sons' decisions actually an effort to help bail out his cousins? Because reportedly, a few senior women in the two Mistry families too approached Mehli to push for the IPO listing, and reportedly even knocked on Noel Tata's doors.
Please help SP Group with the financial stress it is struggling with.
But Noel rejected it, as did Ratan Tata earlier. Then in August 2025, when Noel gave a green light to a 1,000 crore capital infusion into the loss-making Tata International that bypassed the trustee review, it did not sit well with Mehli Mistry, and all hell broke loose in the September 11, 2025 meeting, where the technical issue to be discussed was actually to review positions of nominee directors aged above 75. But the meeting was used by Mehli's camp to push out 77-year-old Vijay Singh from the board seat at Tata Sons. The family related to the SP Group, in desperation, issued a rare public statement. The public listing of Tata Sons is a moral and social imperative, but the board of Tata Sons rejected it.
We will rather negotiate an orderly exit for the SP Group instead.
In the October 10th meeting, it did seem though that both the warring parties tried to portray because both Noel and Mehli agreed to break Tata's usual retirement rule of 65, unanimously agreeing to reappoint 62-year-old N. Chandrasekaran as Tata Sons chairman for a third term from 2027 to 2032. Though largely their discussions only focused on bland things like the 1,000 crore charitable initiatives. One sign of rapprochement was the unanimous reappointment of Venu Srinivasan as a trustee for life ahead of his term expiry on October 23rd. But Mehli's approval also came with a condition that he too must be reappointed for life when his term expires.
If any trustee chooses not to support similar resolutions for other trustees when their terms expire, I will withhold my formal approval.
While slipping in a conciliatory note,
let's bury the past, respect each other, and move forward as a team unanimously.
But Noel still took the opportunity to oust Mehli when his renewal came up for vote, as his camp voted against him. And even though the votes were locked 3-3 for and against his reappointment, since it was not unanimous, he was ousted. Will Mehli, the recluse British citizen largely unknown outside the upper echelons of the Parsi community, retire back to London or mount a legal challenge? Of late, the Tatas have been mired in a series of controversies, be it Ratan Tata's will, the Air India crash case, or the present tussle at Tata Trust. Somewhat surprising for India's most respected business group.
Investments in debt securities, municipal debt securities, securitized debt instruments are subject to risks, including delay and or default in payment. Read all the offer-related documents carefully.
Bisbo's limerick. Mehli and Noel had a spat over who wore the Tata hat. The boardroom tussle showed Noel's muscle as he banished Mehli into a sabbath. You will also find these sources listed in our video description section.